A very entertaining game in the Serie A today. Janusz Michallik is joining me to talk about it. 2-2 Roma Inter, Janusz, in this one. Inter really came alive in the second half, but mad props to Roma for being able to pull one back and force this draw at home. So who would be happiest with this result?
I think Milan and Juventus to some degree, I think will be the happiest, and maybe even Atalanta, because obviously for Milan after losing that crucial game against Juventus midweek, right? They bounced on Saturday against Torino. Here was an opportunity for Milan, for the city rivals, Inter that is, to put more pressure on Milan, but Juventus as well. Look, I think this was a game that Inter should have won easily, really, even though it didn't start for them well in the second half. Of course, we saw what Antonio Conte perhaps can do. We'll get back to that a little bit later, because I don't know if it's a positive, can do at halftime. And it was a different game. And for them to concede to Roma in that second half late, again, it's 2 points lost for Inter, let's be honest.
And then, as we said, there were 4 goals that we got to see. Which one impressed you the most?
Well, you have to talk about Achraf Hakimi, right? That was a spectacular for him. We've seen that he has now 6 goals, really. I mean, he is still considered as a fullback, although I'm not so sure, of course, especially with Antonio Conte playing 3-5-2. He's a wing back. Look, I mean, when he came in and, the way he puts that away really in the top corner, he certainly took the spider web away from that corner, if there was any. That's for sure. It's superb. He's been very, very good. In a way, criminal for Antonio Conte, because I do want to come into him, because this Inter team, in a way, Alexis, is, he's the puppet master and holds the strings to all his players. And you can see the way they play, because they are mechanical. Very often, I feel they don't express themselves. He may be able to yell his team into the Scudetto or scare them into the Scudetto sometimes, because that's how it feels, doesn't it? That start where Roma really dominated, score, and then we see this on and on and on and on in so many games. So look, I don't want to take anything away from Antonio Conte. This team is good enough, but too often they show that they need something extra, something special. And I very often wonder if they're scared of their manager a little bit. I watch body language, and after every play, somebody's always looking towards the bench for approval or disapproval. This is not the way you play at the highest level, I suppose.
Well, interesting you should say that. Let's stick a pin there, because before their last 2 matches, Inter were on a run of 8 games in the Serie A, winning. And now they lost to Sampdoria. Now they've also got a draw against Roma. What more needs to be done, whether by the players or Antonio Conte, so that they don't lose any more ground in this title race?
As I've said, play free, take advantage of your chances, right?
But will they get to do that now?
Paul Lopez was absolutely outstanding, right? When it's still 0-0, if you look at that point blank save on the header from Lukaku, that's absolutely outstanding. Lautaro was saved by Paul Lopez again. Absolutely a tremendous save from him. They do have chances. They create chances. They're better teams, like I said. When you dominate in periods of time, they've got to take advantage of that. And I think that's been a problem to a degree, because the talent is there for everybody to see. But as I said, I think they do play with a handbrake on. I do think that Antonio Conte has to take responsibility in this game, and often in many games in terms of the substitutions. Look, I mean, in the second half, you dominate a game. You go ahead, 2-1, Skriniar, great header, right? Even though it was at fault on the goal as well to a degree. You look at that domination at that time, the game's not finished. For me, to take Achraf Hakimi out and Lautaro Martinez is wrong. You have to see the game through, in particular because of what has happened, right? With Milan winning that, Juventus is playing in behind, Atalanta get their points. So he does that often. I'm not saying not to trust other players, but I think if I see Kolarov, Perisic and Gagliardini coming in as subs when the game's not decided, I don't feel comfortable with that. So, and Lautaro Martinez, let's be honest, was just as good. I mean, he had his looks, he had his chances. He always looked dangerous in terms of setting up the goals as well. So a bit of a mistake. So they're not far away, but I think that Antonio Conte has to recognize that this team can play even without him. Just let them sometimes.
And then on the other side now, Roma, they're still hot on Inter's heels, of course, in the table. So what more do they need to do to, I suppose, get that boost to try and chase for this title as well?
Well, Roma's aspirations are unresolved, right? Because coming into this game, you said to yourself, well, this is a game where they can stake a claim to the Scudetto, right? And I don't know if I go as far individually when you look at the players. I mean, there is a lot of talent, right? You know, they're still missing Pedro and Zaniolo long term, obviously important players. But you know, you have Dzeko, you have Henrik Mkhitaryan, who's been outstanding, 8 goals, 8 assists this season alone. So he's been a bright spot, and they have players, good young defense as well. Edin Dzeko, I still think to some degree doesn't get credit. Today, he didn't play a large part, but if you look at Edin Dzeko, what he's done up until now and everywhere he's been, Edin Dzeko may not be remembered as one of the greats, but he certainly should be remembered as one of the best strikers in the game. If you go all the way back to, you know, Wolfsburg, where he scored, I don't know, 66 goals. At Manchester City, he had like 100, I don't know, 10, 11. And even here, 114 goals at Roma. Just think about it. Totti leads and all that. So I think that this team certainly should be in the top 4. That's their aim. Today, with a win, I think they would have many worried. You know, short of calling them Scudetto favorites, I think they've missed an opportunity. But give him an A for the character to coming back and getting a draw out of this game.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.